Okay, first up we have a postural assessment. The equipment needed is a posture grid, level surface, and a score sheet. The test protocol. The client stands in anatomical position. The client is then observed in 3 different angles, which are anterior, posterior, and lateral. Measurements are taken of joint angles, distance, and length. How measurement is read. Measurements are read based on the alignment of body landmarks, joint angles, and distances between specific points. Its pros. It helps in identifying postural imbalances and potential areas of dysfunction. It allows better understanding of clients' movement patterns and which exercise can be recommended. Cons. It requires careful observation and measurement. It can be subjective depending on the assessor's experience. So first up, for the client, we look at him in the posterior view from head left to right. And then we give him a score there. Shoulders left to right, we give him a score there. Spine left to right, give him a score there. Hips left to right, give him a score there. Ankles, you check if the feet aren't pointed straight ahead, feet pointed out, or feet pointed out markedly, ankle sag in pronation. And then we follow up with the lateral position, which is the neck, and then following the upper back. And then we check for the trunk and the abdomen and then lower back. And then we give him a total score there. Importance, relevance to sport. Posture is essential for understanding movement patterns, identifying potential areas of dysfunction, and developing target exercise and stretching programs to improve performance and reduce injury risk. In all essence, during the postural assessment, what stood out for me were the following for my client, Ethan van Nesvegen. His right foot was supinated, and I scored him a 7 there. His knees, they were a bit normal, so I scored him an 8 there. Hip, the left side of his hip is elevated, and I gave him a 7 there. His pelvis has a posterior tilt, so I gave him an 8 there. And then his lumbar spine is slightly has lordosis, and I gave him a 9 there. And then his thoracic spine is slightly flattened. His shoulder and scapula, normal. I scored a 10 there. And then his neck is flattened, and of which I scored him a 6 there. And then up next, we have the 90-90 straight leg raise test for a marathon runner. The equipment needed is a massage bed or similar and a goniometer. The test protocol. The athlete lies in supine position, and then the tester slowly lifts the athlete's leg, keeping the knee straight until a stretch is felt or resistance is met. The angle of the leg is measured using a goniometer. How the measurement is read. The measurement is read as the angle of the leg in degrees, with greater angles indicating greater flexibility, with the reference point being the lateral midline of the leg and the lateral midline of the thigh. And then pros. It helps identify areas of tightness that may impact running performance, and can increase performance in stretching and flexibility exercises. Relatively simple and quick to administer. Cons. It may not accurately reflect functional flexibility during running, as it requires proper technique and measurement. Its importance and relevance to sport. Hamstring flexibility is crucial for marathon runners, as tight hamstrings can lead to decreased running efficiency, increased risk of injury, and impaired performance. Assessing and improving hamstring flexibility can help optimize running technique and reduce the risk of injury. And during the test, what you measure on the left side, you do to the right side as well, vice versa. Next up, we have functional testing, which is rotation for a swimmer. The equipment needed, none, as it is a visual assessment or a goniometer for precise measurement. Test protocols. Although the equipment, although it is a non-visual assessment, you do need a flat surface, in which a mat will help. Test protocols. The swimmer lies down with their arms at their sides. The tester asks the swimmer to tuck in their feet and then stretch as wide as possible with their hands at their sides, ensuring that they keep their back straight and that their arms are wide enough for me to see if they touch the floor or not. The range of motion is observed and measured. How the measurement
Next up,
is
we have
read.
strength and power, which is the
The
vertical
measurement
jump for
is
a cricket
read
player.
as the angle of rotation in
The equipment
degrees.
needed is a high ceiling with a measuring tape,
The normative data,
chalk or powder for marking
A2.
fingertips, and a flat surface.
hand and shoulder are touching the
Test
floor while
protocol.
knees are together, which is
You stand
5
under the high
centimeters apart
ceiling
and not
with a
lifting from
dominant
the
arm
floor.
extended, marking
Scoring
a
1.
reach height.
Only their hand is
And
touching
then
the floor.
from there on, you
A
perform
0,
a
which is
maximal
negative.
vertical jump,
Neither hand
touching the
or shoulder
highest
is touching
point
the floor.
possible. And then we measured the difference between the reach height and the jump
Pros.
height.
It
How
helps
measurement
identify
is read.
limitations in
The
shoulder
difference between the
rotation that may
standing
impact swimming technique.
Reach height and jump height is measured in inches or
Can inform
centimeters.
stretching and
Normative
strengthening
data, average
exercises
51 to
relatively
63
simply
centimeters.
to
Above
administer.
average, 63 to 76
And then next up we have
May
speed and
require
agility,
precise measurement
and we have the
techniques
Illinois
by
test.
individual
Equipment
76
needed,
plus
flat,
centimeters.
non-slip surface, 8 cones,
Measures
a
explosive
stopwatch
power,
and speed gates.
and relevance to
Test protocol.
shoulder rotation.
The athlete
directly affects
starts
swimming efficiency,
at the
power
start
output,
cone.
and injury risk. Assessing and
The setup
improving shoulder rotation can
of the
help
test according to the
optimize
Illinois preliminary test, which is
relevance to
10
It says
meters
explosive
of
power for
length
fielding, especially for wicket keepers.
on both sides and a width of 5 meters with 4 cones in the middle, which is separated at a distance of 3.3 meters
Assesses
apart.
explosive power for fielding, especially
The
for
athlete
wicket
starts
keepers and
in a prone
breaks,
position at the
movements,
starting
throwing
line.
and overall
On the signal, the athlete
athleticism,
sprints through the
enhancing
course,
performance and reducing injury
weaving through
risk.
the cones and changing direction. The time is recorded from the start signal to when the athlete crosses the finish line. How measurement is read. The time is measured in seconds with faster times indicating better agility and speed. Normative data, elite soccer players 15 to 17 seconds. Average athletes 17 to 20 seconds. Pros. It measures agility, speed and change of direction ability. The course layout mimics soccer specific movements. It can inform training programs for improving agility and speed. Cons. It may not capture all aspects of soccer-specific agility as it requires precise setup and timing. Its importance and relevance to sport. It provides valuable insights into a soccer player's agility, speed, and overall athleticism, making it a useful tool for coaches and trainers to design targeted. And lastly, we have the Bronco. Equipment needed: cones, measuring tape, stopwatch, and a whistle. Test protocol. The participants stand at the baseline and run 20 meters forward and then return to the baseline, then run 40 meters, return to the baseline, and then finally run 60 meters and return to the baseline. They repeat this sequence 5 times as fast as possible, covering a total of 1,200 meters. How measurement is read. Record the total time in minutes and seconds. It usually lasts between 5 to 6 minutes. Ensure the foot touches or goes over each line. The participant should be instructed to run maximally throughout the test to achieve the best result. Normative data. Depends on age group. whereby it's usually 6 minutes though. Pros: it measures cardiovascular endurance and speed endurance, which is simpler to administer for relevant sports with high intensity intervals. Cons: it may not capture all aspects of rugby. Specific fitness requires maximal effort. Its importance to sport: it evaluates an individual's aerobic